Hi everyone, welcome to Jeff Teaches Bowling. We've got a great ball review for you today. We're going to be looking at the new Hammer Effect Tour. The Hammer Effect Tour was just announced. It's going to be a very interesting kind of ball because it's the next step in Hammer's Tour series. I think it started way back. I remember the Arson Low Flare when they started making the lower flaring balls for control, and then they kind of upped it to the Web Tour, and then the Obsession Tour, and of course the Envy Tour, which is probably one of my favorite balls for the last 10 years or so. And now we're going to the Hammer Effect Tour. So we're gonna throw this ball a couple of times. I have not even thrown this ball once yet. You can see there's no oil marks on this thing at all. It's brand new, fresh. So we're gonna throw it for the first time and see what it does, and we'll talk a little about it while we throw it. So let's go out to the lanes and see what it does. We are here at Strikers Lanes in Sunrise, Florida, the best bowling center down here in South Florida. And we are going to be throwing this Hammer Effect Tour. So let's throw a couple of shots and we'll talk about the ball as we go. So this is just the regular house shot. I am just gonna line up, I guess, where I usually play to start a league night, and we'll see what happens. All right, look at that, really smooth. So if you've seen any or thrown the Hammer Envy Tour, you know what the Tour series that Hammer has been doing is. It's low differential balls. Now it started, I guess, back with the Arson Low Flare, maybe even before that, but that's the one I remember. And that was a pretty popular ball on the PBA Tour. And then they had the Web Tour. The Web Tour was a symmetrical ball also. And the Web Tour used the Tour V1 cover. It was a very early, very smooth cover. Then they released the Obsession Tour a few years ago, and that was an asymmetric ball. So it was a low differential asymmetric ball, which you don't see too many of, especially at that time. And that ball was really smooth, also had some good back end. So let's throw another shot in the same place. Got it in a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of kick in the back. Didn't quite get it right. It is 8:30 in the morning. I am not a morning person. So the Obsession Tour was the asymmetric low differential ball. And it was like the first one of those that they had done. And it was pretty good success. You saw a couple of them being used on TV in the Pro Tour, a lot of them in league. Then they really stepped it up and they released the Envy Tour a couple of years ago. I love the Envy Tour. It's been no secret that's probably my favorite ball I've thrown in maybe the last 10 years. It's so smooth, usable on almost any pattern between 38 and 48 feet, especially if it's sport patterns. The ball is great now. The Obsession Tour used the Tour V2 cover. The Web Tour used the Tour V1 cover, so the Obsession Tour cover was like a step up above the Web Tour cover. The Envy Tour didn't use that. The Envy Tour used the cover that was on the original Envy, but it had the core that the Obsession Tour had. This Hammer Effect Tour has the core, which we'll talk about in a second, but it has a cover, it's called the Tour V3, which is the next step above the Obsession Tour cover that started with the Web Tour. Get that thing out to the dry and see what it does. Woo, nice. Got some hook on that baby. All right, so the Envy Tour used the Hammer Envy's cover with the Obsession Tour's core. The Effect Tour uses the Tour V3 cover. The Tour V3 is the next step up from the core, the cover that was on the Obsession Tour. The core in this ball is kind of interesting. It's the Hammer Effect core, but they modified it to lower the differential. If you look at the core of the Hammer Effect, it has like a flip block on the bottom, and it's got the actual core itself. They removed the flip block, and it reduced the differential a lot. So let's see, I'm gonna move about 4 left. Let's see what it does here. Get that thing out. Woo! Wow, that thing's got some flip in the back. So it's the Hammer Effects core without the flip block on the bottom. And obviously, you know anything about the dot technology. The dot technology flips the cores upside down so you can drill near the pin. So the flip block that's on the bottom is really the flip block on the top. And when you remove the flip block, it lowered the differential a lot. So what you have here is probably a ball that's, I think it's a little weaker than the Envy Tour. I'd have to say, I don't know, maybe it's not. So I have my Envy Tour here, and we'll throw them both next to each other. Just from throwing this ball a little bit so far, I think this ball has a lot more dynamic back end than my Envy Tour ever gave me. Envy Tour being a lot smoother, but we'll test that out in a second. Almost left a 7.9. Wow. This thing has a little more angle than I thought it was going to have. That's pretty cool, actually. So, when we're talking about what the Envy Tour was great for, I loved it on sport patterns. Anytime I had no idea what the lanes were doing, what my ball was going to do in the back end, and there was a decent amount of oil, obviously. I just needed to hit the pocket and, carry. Maybe if not, leave a 10 pin. Envy Tour, it's great for that. So this one, we'll see. This one's a little more dynamic in the back. So I'm thinking maybe the Envy Tour just hooks a little more and is earlier and smoother. And maybe this one is kind of a little cleaner, little flippier version. I'm not sure. So I'm going to move another 2 left and we'll see. That is an interesting bowling ball. Whoa. This thing has, I think it's safe to say this has a lot more dynamic back end than my Envy Tour, but I have my Envy Tour here. It's got about 250 games on it. So let's throw it. I'm going to throw it sort of in the same place and we'll see what it does, just as a comparison, because I really have no idea. Yeah, you can see way smoother, a little earlier, and not as much get up and go in the back. So these are 2 balls that I think you can use in sport patterns to complement each other. If you need a little more back end, you can use the Effect Tour. And if you just need a little smoother, you can use the Envy Tour. I will have no qualms about taking both of these with me to a sport tournament. Anything on a challenge pattern, a PBA tournament, anything like that. Now let's throw the Envy Tour one more time. Still in the same place. And we'll see what the difference is again. Got around that thing. Whoa, I really got around that one. But you can see very early. Hits the drive very early. No surprise. No surprise at all. I think if I do that same mistake with the Effect, it probably goes a little longer. Might strike, but might have more angle. So I don't know. I don't want to make that mistake again. So let's go back to the Effect Tour, because that's what you're all here to see. Throw another shot, sort of in the same place. I'll try not to get around it as much, because that last one was not good. Yeah, this one, I can definitely see the Hammer Effect Tour being cleaner, for sure. It's a little cleaner. Definitely got more back end though. So you're looking at 2 different types of tour balls. I would say the Envy Tour probably handles a lot, heavier oil, more oil up front, a little better. The Effect Tour is for when you want more pop in the back end. If your Envy Tour is leaving 10 pins, you just go to this. And you can probably just stand right in the same place. So I'm going to move another 2 left. Now I'll make it 3. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Wow. So if you bowl in league and you have over-under in league and you don't want to use like super smooth early bowling ball because you just won't carry, yeah, this thing should be perfect for that. Absolutely. I can see any league bowler that has problems on over-unders in their houses, on their league shots. this hammer effect tour is going to be really, really good for you. All right, I'm going to move another couple left. I don't know, I've lost track. I don't even know how many it was anymore. And let's see what it does a little deeper. Yeah, looks good. I think you got yourselves a winner hammer. Looks good. So that is the hammer effect tour. If you're interested, check it out at hammerbowling.com. And we will wrap this video up for now. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thanks obviously to the Brands of Brunswick and to Genesis Bowling for their sponsorships. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.